This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I am Amy Goodman. We are broadcasting today from Fort Lewis College. Today marks Columbus Day, a federal holiday to commemorate the arrival of Christopher Columbus to the so-called New World in 1492. But the holiday has long evoked sadness and anger amongst people of color, especially Native Americans, who object to honoring a man who opened the door to European colonization, the exploitation of Native peoples, and the slave trade. Instead, they're calling people to reconsider Columbus Day by acknowledging the genocide of Indigenous peoples and celebrating Native American traditions.
Columbus Day.
A day that our government has deemed worthy of remembrance.
But with all due respect.
With all due respect.
With all due respect.
There's an ugly truth that has been overlooked
for way too long.
Columbus committed heinous crimes
against the indigenous peoples of the Caribbean
and millions of natives throughout the Americas.
And Columbus set the stage for the slave trade in the New World.
So please
reconsider if this is a man you want to honor.
Reconsider if you want to celebrate the crimes of Columbus.
It's not your fault.
It happened a long time ago.
But remaining neutral
and pretending like it didn't happen,
or that it doesn't still impact us today.
So please
take the day to learn the whole story.
We are broadcasting today from Fort Lewis College here in Durango, Colorado. The community is reclaiming Columbus Day, turning it into a day to celebrate Indigenous peoples' cultures, language, music, and other traditions, holding a real history of the America's Day. Fort Lewis College was once a military fort, later turned into an Indian boarding school, then turned state public school. Due to a century-old promise made by the state of Colorado, the college waives the tuition costs for all its Native American students. Today, the college awards approximately 16% of the baccalaureate degrees earned by Native American students in the United States. The waiver has changed the lives of thousands of Native American students and in many ways has come to define the college, but it's now being challenged at a time of state budget constraints. Fort Lewis College graduates more Native Americans than any four-year college in the United States. We're joined now by three guests involved with the real history of America's Day. Esther Belin is a writing instructor here at Fort Lewis College and a member of the Navajo Nation, as well as an Indigenous activist, a poet. She won the American Book Award for her book of poetry. Shirena Trujillo Long is coordinator of El Centro de Muchos Colores at Fort Lewis College and chair of the Real History of the Americas Committee. And we're joined by Noel Alla-Ta-Ha, a student coordinator for today's events, a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe, and a senior here at Fort Lewis College, majoring in psychology, minoring in Native American and Indigenous studies. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! Let's begin with Shirena Trujillo Long. Talk about this day, how you're trying to reframe Columbus Day.
Sure. This day here at Fort Lewis College is very unique because we really have so many vibrant tribes and vibrant people still living after Columbus Days. 1492 sailed the ocean blue that we were always taught. We still have people living, and we celebrate the beautiful things that they have to offer. Here on campus, we've done it for the last 4 years, and it really started because we wanted to do something different on Columbus Day. We didn't need to have the day off to celebrate him and his discoveries. We wanted to celebrate what we still have.
What does it mean to say Christopher Columbus discovered the New World?
Very hurtful for many, many people. That is very hurtful to say, that we were discovered. I am not Native American myself, but have lived in this region in the Four Corners for my whole life, and am half Hispana and half white. And so the stories that I was always told was very clear in school, who discovered who. And it wasn't really until I was a student here at Fort Lewis College also that I saw a different story, and I wanted to be able to share that with others, and that's why we started today.
Noel Alla-Ta-Ha, you're a senior. You're a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe. Where is your family from in the United States?
So we're from the Fort Apache Indian Reservation in White River, Arizona, and before there were state lines and borders. My people came from the Whitewater area, so it's part of my clan and it's part of my identity, and that's where they still are today.
You're one of the major organizers of this day of events. What are you trying to convey? For people who are saying, what are you talking about? Christopher Columbus came and he discovered America. Tell a different story to us today.
Well, Amy, I'm just here to share where I come from. And in my tribe, it's really important to use your words wisely and to, there's a saying, "Nijat hayu," and that's where are your ears, my grandma would say, and it's really important to listen more than talk. Creator gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen, because listening is more important than talking sometimes. And I was talking to my grandfather this morning, and I said, "Shawistine, I'm talking to Amy Goodman." And he's like, "Who?" I said, "Amy Goodman." "Oh, what tribe is she?" And but you do come from a tribe, and that's really important. You know, your ancestors came, and we all come from a people, and that's part of our identity. And so my job is just to be the vessel that allows others, those peoples that their stories were hidden and erased and silenced on this one day, to share and embrace that.
Esther Belin, you're with the Navajo Nation. You're a writing instructor here, an acclaimed poet. Talk about this day's meaning in your community and how the rest of people in the United States talk about it as a federal holiday, Columbus Day.
You know, I'd have to kind of align with Noel in terms of how we individually look at this day. You know, you definitely can embrace the pain and the genocide that has been our history and our foundation. And that is definitely a valid emotion, a valid, you know, almost reaction for Indigenous people. And I think as you grow in awareness and maturity and are given opportunities to present, we have to go beyond that. And what I mean by that, individually, we all go through our own healing. We don't have a healing process in this country called the United States. There is no platform, no medium, no expectation of that. And, you know, as tribal people, that's been part of our worldview. You know, just like Noel said, where, you know, we see everyone as coming from a tribe, whether they acknowledge it or not. And it's super important for us to start that healing process, and then as well to talk about it and to guide other people around their own trauma, which it is an historical trauma. It's legitimate, and it is as valid as the pain where some people have no idea where it came from. And that discovery is, you know, to give articulation to that is so powerful. It's so emotional. And, you know, as I use the English language, I see myself as an interpreter. I have been chosen this route. I have been chosen for this time to use that language, to speak for others that are in, you know, a void or in a trauma that they have no articulation yet. And I think that is the major reason I've been involved in this event, because we get to celebrate those articulations. We get to celebrate that pain and legitimize it as real. And whether, you know, we can include everybody or not, we definitely have that emotion. We know that more are coming to support.
We're talking with Esther Belin, who is of the Navajo Nation, Noel Alla-Ta-Ha, White Mountain Apache, and Shirena Trujillo Long, Hispana, as she says, here in Fort Lewis College in Durango, which is celebrating a Day of the Americas today. This is Democracy Now! We'll be back in a minute.